Sean Diddy Combs is facing the potential collapse of his multi-million-dollar empire as federal prosecutors pursue sweeping asset forfeiture efforts tied to a range of serious criminal allegations, threatening both his freedom and financial standing. The hip-hop mogul, once valued at $1 billion in 2022, has reportedly seen his net worth plummet to around $400 million in 2025. The sharp decline is attributed to mounting legal expenses, settlements, and the unraveling of key business deals, including his high-profile partnership with Diageo, the parent company of Ciroc Vodka. According to CNN's Laura Coates, Diddy is now caught in a dual battle, navigating both legal peril and financial ruin, as the government eyes a broad range of his assets for potential seizure. Former Department of Justice official Jim Trusty described the scope of the forfeiture as very, very broad, noting that nearly everything linked to Diddy's business empire could be targeted: record labels, liquor brands, real estate, luxury vehicles, and even private jets. Basically, everything is in play, Trusty said. In response, Diddy has enlisted Stephen Casella, a former DOJ forfeiture expert, to fight the government's aggressive push to confiscate as much of his portfolio as possible. Prosecutors allege that from 2008 to 2024, Diddy operated a criminal enterprise involving sexual abuse, forced labor, bribery, arson, and obstruction of justice, all allegedly facilitated through his businesses. The indictment alleges that Diddy coerced women into drug-fueled sex parties, referred to as freak-offs, involving male sex workers, and then used intimidation tactics to keep them silent. Diddy has pleaded not guilty and firmly denies all accusations, insisting that any sexual activity was fully consensual. But here's where it gets wild, family. The government doesn't even need to prove that any of his assets are directly tied to criminal acts to seize them. Think about that. They can just roll in and start taking your stuff. Cars, houses, jets, without a conviction, without solid proof that those items were bought with dirty money. That feels off, right? Like you could own a mansion, a yacht, or a private jet, all purchased legally through your business ventures, and just because you're accused of something unrelated, they can try to take it all. That's the hustle behind these asset forfeiture claims. It's the same tactic they use at airports. Say you're flying with $10,000 in cash and you don't have paperwork showing where it came from. They can take it right there on the spot. Then it becomes your burden to fight for it back. And here's the kicker. They'll often make you go to court in another state, far from where you live. So now you're stuck flying back, spending more money, just to argue for the return of what's rightfully yours. It's a legal trap that feels anything but just. And then they hit you with the reset again and again until you finally just say, you know what? Forget it. Depending on how much money is at stake, most people end up walking away. And when you do show up to fight, they make sure you walk into a hostile environment. The atmosphere is intimidating. Law enforcement has their ways of making you feel like you're already guilty, like they can make your life miserable if they want to. That pressure wears people down. A lot of folks just stop showing up to court. They stop calling. They stop asking for their money back. Sure, there have been a few cases where people stood their ground and eventually got their money returned, but it often took months, sometimes even years. Now imagine this. You've got $10,000 set aside. Maybe it's for your kid's college tuition, your own education, or the capital to launch a business you've been dreaming about. And just like that, poof, it's gone. Seized. That's how the system works. They'll bust into your house, say they're looking for drugs, and end up walking out with your TV, your watch, your savings, anything they can grab. They're not always looking for evidence. They're looking for valuables. You've seen the footage. Cops raiding homes, digging through closets, not for justice, but for things they can take. That's the part they don't talk about. It's not just law enforcement, it's legalized looting under the banner of forfeiture. People's belongings getting taken, cops going into homes, digging through closets, rummaging through drawers, and grabbing whatever they want. That's not law enforcement. That's a hustle. Straight up. And it gets even worse when you're out on the road. If you're driving cross-country and get pulled over, you're vulnerable. Think about it. You're probably in a state you don't even live in, just passing through. Say you've got $500 in cash on you. If they decide to take it, what are the odds you're really going to come back from Georgia to Texas just to fight for that money in court? They bank on that. They know most people won't go through the time, expense, or stress to challenge the seizure, especially over a few $100s. That's how they play the game. These forfeiture laws are incredibly broad, and even when there are supposed to be legal limits in place, authorities often ignore them. They cross the line, bend the rules, and straight up take your money and your stuff. Yes, they will steal from you. That's not an exaggeration. It's real. So when you hear them talking about seizing Diddy's assets, it raises red flags. They know good and well that man didn't build a multi-million-dollar empire purely off criminal activity, but they're still going after it all. And a lot of people believe that was the plan from the start, that taking him down and dismantling his empire was always the end game. It's starting to look less like justice and more like strategy. They've been gunning for his money from Jump Street. That was the move all along. But honestly, I don't want to believe it. Not our government. Not the United States of America. You'd think if something shady like that was really happening, a politician would step in. Even if they're not a fan of Diddy, someone in office, one of our so-called duly elected leaders, should speak up and do the right thing. Just to show the American people that this is still a nation of laws and that the rules apply to everyone, including those working in law enforcement. You can't tell me there's not at least one politician out there with the backbone to stand up for what's right. I mean, why should Diddy have to hire a whole team of lawyers, not even to prove his innocence, but just to stop the government from taking property that they already know has nothing to do with any alleged crimes? That house, bought clean. That plane, paid for with legitimate business money. No question about it. And yet, here we are. It's crazy, fam. It really is. But it's just another reason to move smart. Get your money, stay out the way, and don't give anybody a reason to put a target on your back. Because if you're out here doing even one thing slick, that might be all it takes. Once you're in the system, you don't control the path. It takes you wherever it wants. But that's just my take. What about you, fam? Drop a comment. Let me know how you feel about all this.